are certainly, I think, in many ways very spoiled here at Berkeley. Our students are extremely brilliant. They are extremely driven. They're extremely curious. They're extremely motivated. I think in almost any way you want to slice or dice it, our students are just wonderful to work with. We are privileged to have the opportunity to teach our students. But the question really is about how do we foster innovation for the teachers? Because I think what we're saying in this is, does having really good students make someone a good teacher? And the answer is no, right? Because we have to think about it, no matter how brilliant our students are, no matter what level of preparation they come in with, they come in at a certain level. And our role as an instructor, as a teacher, is to advance that level as far as we can in the time that we have with them. And so if we're talking about fostering innovation in the practice of teachers, I think that there's a few things to do. I think the first is we need to define what innovation is. I have found that many faculty have different views of what innovation is, and many have sort of self-deprecating views of what innovation is. By that I mean there have been times where I may have had an event with innovation in the title and asked a faculty member to come and present and share something, and they will kind of very modestly say, yeah, but that's not really innovative. But I know that it is. It's pushing the boundaries. It's moving pedagogy a step forward from where it is now. And so I think we need to define what innovation is and make it a safe space for people to step into, right? So one thing we've started doing on our campus is not talking about just innovation, but coupling innovation with reinvention. And that reinventing something that I've done is a process of innovation, right? It's moving something forward. So creating a larger umbrella that faculty can see themselves in as being innovative. And I think that's a really sort of first component of this. I think the second component of fostering innovation is understanding how innovation happens. And there's some really good research on this, particularly from organizational communication, organizational business. Business really has looked closely at this, and scholars have studied this. And one of the basic foundational principles of innovation is that innovation does not happen in a vacuum. Innovation does not happen by yourself, sitting in an office trying to think of ideas. Innovation is a social product. Innovation happens because we talk to people, because we brainstorm together, because we pitch ideas and get feedback and constructive criticism. And you can look across almost any sort of seminal innovation of history. And if you look at the history of those innovations and you look at the lives of the people who created it, you will see that they had networks of people that they were talking to, that they were brainstorming with, that they were sharing and getting ideas. And that was what provokes the innovation. So how do we foster innovation in teaching practice, which is inherently a very solitary endeavor, right? It's my class, it's my classroom. I don't want people to come in and watch me, right? It's very individual. Our job is to flip that and to create spaces and opportunities for faculty and instructors to talk about teaching with each other, to create a social community around teaching where teaching is the object of the discussion, where we talk about a shared practice, where we begin to sort of break down some of those artificial walls of our classroom and start truly being social about teaching. And when we have these events where we showcase teaching and we have lightning talks, that's where innovation happens. That's where, someone in a literature discipline gets an idea from an engineer about project management and now can think of a way to do group projects in their course that they've never done before. The innovation wouldn't happen otherwise if it wasn't for the sharing and the social aspect of it. And there's lots of other pieces to it, but I think that's the most kind of critical piece in thinking about teaching because it is such a historically solitary endeavor, particularly in higher education. And how do we begin to make it a more community-oriented endeavor? That's what's going to push the boundaries.